Hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Friday Night Live Dinner in a Boat.
Where we are
We'll be in a minute.
live and we are cooking already.
Yeah, because I had to do another dish that takes a long time and
Yep.
takes a bit to prepare. I need to get better at grabbing quick dishes that you can cook that don't need a little bit of prep.
So those are the potatoes. Potato.
Yeah. We're making homemade French fries. So Abby sliced up the potatoes for me, and then we just coat them in a little bit of olive oil, and we're just cooking them in the oven. We're not doing deep fryer tonight. So I got a batch in cooking right now, and then there's a second batch to go in while we're cooking this up. And this is because we like venison. We have venison steaks that I cut up again, and they are marinating in some soy sauce, some lemon juice, lime juice, and some chili powder. I got to think for a second real quick because it's been just a little bit since I put it together. And I don't make it it's only the second time I've made it. So a teaspoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of black pepper. Owen's getting excited because it sounds like taco stuff. I finely diced up not enchilada. Owen, what's the name of those hot peppers you like? Chipotles, yes.
I thought you were gonna say habaneros.
No, I diced up one little chipotle out of the can, chipotle pepper and adobe sauce, and that went in there. And a half a tablespoon of garlic. And then I've just been marinating for about an hour. So I got a pan nice and hot. We're gonna make, this recipe is called Carne Asadas. And I think it's kind of Mexican, but I think it's more American than it is Mexican. And I think I read somewhere it originated somewhere in Southern California. So anyway, I got some nacho cheese sauce going, and we're gonna cook the French fries. I'm gonna cook up the meat.
One, two.
We're gonna layer kind of like chili cheese fries, but we're gonna layer it with some. Yes, Emmett. Let me finish.
In Spanish.
Meat something. I forgot what asada means. I totally forgot. And then we're gonna layer it with some salsa and onions and jalapenos and cilantro and sour cream and cheese. Oh, I need that. You want to hang on to that for me for a second while I throw some? I need that.
What do you need?
That glove.
That glove? This glove?
Yeah,
this glove here?
Don't ever grab a wet rag and touch your pan. Heat go right through it and burn your hand.
You get a steam burn.
Yes.
You get the water will flash the steam and you get a steam burn. And you do not want a steam burn.
Don't want a steam burn.
Oh yes.
So here we go, and I'm
working on steamships. Oddly enough, I've been burned by steam.
It's a little hot. It was a hot one tonight. I waited too long. I was talking too much. So I'm gonna put all the meat in here and leave this juice, but then I'm gonna throw this juice in a pan over there and cook this just to bring it to a boil to cook it because it had raw meat in it. And then you can use this juice to sprinkle over your potatoes if you like, with all that flavor in there. Turn this right up on high now that I got all the meat in there.
Nice.
Yeah, I should have had it on high, but the pan was getting hot because I was talking so much. I'm gonna put this right here. If I leave it right here, it's not quite in your way, I don't think.
Nope.
Okay, and I'm gonna put this in here and bring it to a boil. Let's have a little bit of sauce.
Where's that? Oh, here, I got it.
Sprinkle on the fries.
You need fire. I'm working on fire.
Yeah.
I have fire.
Oh, I need this to
Here,
start.
throw gas.
There's gas in there.
There. Fire. cereal.
I added, I don't know if you caught that, if I was too interrupted, but this is soaking in half cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of lime juice, a teaspoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of black pepper, and a 1/2 tablespoon of garlic, either fresh. Probably fresh is probably best here. And then I diced up 1 chipotle chili pepper out of can and threw that in for some heat. And then it soaked in that for about an hour. It smells good. Watch my hair.
And as usual, it smells delicious.
Yes, it smells good. So, there you go. So this week, my husband was nice enough to go back and sand down my transom on my steel clipper.
Not sand blast.
You
I sandblasted where we did the whole rest of the hull on her 1954 Inland Seas Clipper. And the trim tabs were still on when we did the bottom and the sides and everything. And so when they took them off where they were mounted, there was some rust. So I got back underneath where the trim tabs mount, blasted that all off down to fresh steel, nice and clean. There's a little bit of pitting, not real bad. And then I went over, because when we blasted the hull 2 years ago, God, doesn't seem like that long. I did a little bit around the transom. We put a little OSPO on it, but we never primed it or anything because I wanted to sand it down, and we did. And then we never got around to putting primer on it. So I spot blasted a couple spots on the transom. It just needs OSPO, primer, and paint. And then we're gonna get around to painting the transom with the mural and the name and all that wonderful stuff. But before the mural goes on, we need a coat of white on the transom anyway. So whether we put the mural on right now or not, it's definitely going to be white going into the winter. I don't know, the weather keeps up. It's been real nice up here, so if the weather keeps up, maybe we'll get it knocked out of the way. And then I got playing with cars on the side and fixed her tire that was leaking and worked on my Suburban, changed my power steering pump. So that's where we're at this week. And
Interesting. I don't think you want that plate.
I don't care about the plate. I just don't really want that.
I don't want
Oh my God, is he?
food.
That's the fastest spider I ever.
Where's the food?
He's not. I flicked him on the stove. Put him in a burner.
He's in
That's
a
the
burner.
fastest spider I ever seen. That thing was moving.
Oh, I got this is boiling, so this is probably cooked just good enough here. I just want to boil it for like a minute, make sure all the juice, all the, meat juices are cooked out.
Unfortunately, everything slows down when the kids go back to school.
Oh, yeah.
But
Which you wouldn't think so, because while they're at school, we're not, got all this time while they're at school. But we don't really, it's kind of.
Right.
So, anyways, I hadn't told him yet, but I had gotten in contact with the library in Wisconsin over some of my boat stuff. And
No, you can't say that. Over literature and images and old articles to do with Inland Seas clippers, steel clippers. Right. Okay.
So when you are researching online, you only have, even though you're online, you only have so much at your disposal. And then sometimes you run into paywalls, right? Where they give you a little snippet of a clip out of a magazine or a little snippet of a newspaper or some, and you're like, oh, but the little snippet sounds so interesting. So anyway, I found an article that stated the name of a marine architect that supposedly worked with Inland Seas to give them their signature style. And so I was able to get in contact with the library and come to find out they have all of a full set of the magazine that the articles are in that I keep coming across that I can't access. And so I'm waiting. She sent in to get those magazines sent to her, and then I gave her the specific pages and stuff. So I'm waiting for this next week. She'll have them, she said. And I'll have a bunch of new articles and hopefully some pictures. And I was able this last week to obtain like three different boat plans that John B. Clark did besides the Clipper. I wish the Clipper was one of them, but his style is similar to what I have out back, but it's not quite the same. So I was hoping to find something the same, but not quite. So that was kind of cool.
And we found a big steel rowboat, like
Good.
within a mile of here. It's just a big open steel. It looks like a big rowboat, but it's like 22 foot. Kind of curious. It's at one of the local marine places on Rotten Row.
I'm gonna dump a little bit of this into there to.
Okay.
Maybe it'll light again. Maybe it won't.
I got the.
Oh, I got it.
Got the flame stick right here. I can make a fire.
I added a little. Didn't let it drain quite enough. But more juice than I wanted.
Fire.
I didn't have it on high, but I want to cook this down in the juices too. So we're gonna leave just a hair in there to finish boiling down. Because that is done.
Is Owen out
Just
there?
a little bit of stir. Emmett.
We're almost done with the onion, and you need the 3 boats and you scroll.
Onion's done. It's done. It's done what I'm doing to it. Owen might work more, but I have Owen. Look, see, there's an Owen.
Hello.
You know what you're gonna do?
What? Go out on Stacy?
Go out and see if Stacy rolls over. We haven't checked it in like 3 or 4 days, so he's gonna go out and while Mom's cooking here, he's gonna take a flashlight and go out and see. Why don't you go help them? And they're gonna see if the old Stacy Jack's there, aka Beachcomber, aka Freeboat, will roll over. Now that it's sat for another.
AKA stuck boat.
Yeah.
I was just gonna make him a plate, but I guess you're getting a plate. You ready for a plate, or you want to wait? Oh, honey.
Imagine how about that? Sitting here like seagulls on a wire, and now they're gone, and I get food.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just, look at this. Got potatoes, nacho cheese.
Nacho cheese. It just
Yeah,
drizzles.
and that's the spicy cheese. That's got the little bit of
Is
jalapeno
it like
flavor.
a commercial? It's like so beautiful.
Oh, I'm looking. You're pouring, yeah.
Oh, talking to them.
Oh,
Are you just sitting there, mouth watering?
my mouth is watering. That's there you go.
Do you want just a little bit of juice on there, or are you good?
Oh, what else do I put on here? I see cilantro and I got stuff here. I'll bring it all over here. Look at that. What is that?
That is green chilies. I gotta get the sour cream and the salsa, the regular salsa out. I have all I have out right now is some.
Owen's fire breathing.
It's so
dragon.
hot this time. I mixed up another batch for them, but I didn't have any tomatoes with jalapenos, and so I had 2 Roma tomatoes, and I just threw those in the blender, and then I cut up a whole jalapeno and threw that in there, and threw some cilantro and a little bit of lime juice, and I tasted it, and I literally made myself cough like I was hacking because it was so spicy. It got stuck in the back of my throat. Did you freeze?
No, I didn't freeze. No. ES is watching.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. Hi.
How are you guys? We're just
That would be the
making
old.
his plate here of Carne Asada. A little bit of onion. A little bit of everything. But you don't like cilantro, do you?
I like cilantro.
A little bit.
No.
And usually, the one thing I don't have, I didn't grab anything to make it, is usually with carne asada. Why did you put all of the toppings right in front of you?
So they could see them.
Good point. The other thing that is a topping on here a lot of the times is guacamole, which I didn't make any guacamole because I have some avocado ranch dressing in the fridge, which it doesn't sound like it would be good, but I use it when he makes fajitas, and like instead of sour cream, I'll throw a little bit of that avocado ranch on there and the spices and the tang, and it's like perfect. So I figured if anybody wanted guacamole, they could have a little bit of drizzle of
Hi, Jim.
avocado ranch.
I was just gonna say the Glasstron. Yes.
Oh yeah, hi.
Mm.
Boy, now my kids are gone. I can make their plates and they're not hovering over me and breathing heavily as
They're not back already, so I want to know. Does that mean they got the motor to roll over and it's no longer seized?
or if somebody fell and got hurt and they're laying
No.
back there going, ah.
No, because it's over in the side yard right now.
Oh, that's right. You did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not back there. Yeah, so they're out there right now.
I'm gonna make Owen's gonna get a big plate.
Oh, you're not interrupting our dinner.
No.
We have 3 children. You're not interrupting this dinner at all. Oh,
Or gooey orange, cheesy, hot nacho sauce.
I am not too proud to eat while being filmed. Plus, somebody's got to tell you whether it's good or I'm going to sit here and die.
This is not the healthiest food, but my kids sure love eating it, and I'm like, all right, I'll make for you.
Yes, they are out there right now trying to get that 470 to roll. It has had tranny fluid in the cylinders right now for the better part of about 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And here I heard the door. Nobody came.
Well, for a second, did you put some cilantro on there?
No, I
Like
thought you
some
did.
cilantro?
Yes, love some cilantro. There, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know what just happened. The door opened, nobody came through it, and the door closed again. Oh, that tastes delicious.
I don't know how much I should put on here, but Owen literally walked over when I got this all made together earlier and grabbed another spoon and stuck it in there and ate one great big spoonful. So I think he likes it. He'll eat it.
So,
You won't believe this.
what?
It doesn't
It
roll
didn't
over.
It didn't roll over. I figured you were gonna mess with me. Didn't budge at all,
Put
huh?
that on here.
I tightened up the bolt so it was just clicking like, you know.
Clunk, 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 clunk,
Yeah,
clunk,
click,
clunk.
click, yeah.
I
So,
have the sour cream over here.
after talking, okay, sour cream, coming that way. After talking or chatting online, whatever, I was watching, what is his name that I was watching over in Midland? The guy with the, Ron Cook, I think is his channel.
Yeah.
And he's got that Cobra Jet, the 18-foot Cobra Jet that we filmed just a little bit of at Hot Boat. I really would like to get a chance to actually sit down and talk to him because he's got some really interesting video stuff. But what was that? Well, it was a CV or something V 18-foot 1973 jet boat, and I want to get a hold of him, a Glasstron that had a 455 in it, and I want to see if he still got that boat because it just was. I have a disease where I want to save them all.
Yes.
I am the Jay Leno of boats without Jay Leno's money.
Without his money. Yes.
I would have the buildings. I'd have one of this and one of that, and
Yo.
I'd have the African Queen.
I would have the Gar wood that was on Craigslist right now. That would be in my backyard. I'm
Yeah.
just as sick as and demented as him, and sometimes I think I'm worse. Depends on the boat, I guess. Oh. You need somebody to read them out for you?
Right. And it is the 470 that'll overheat because it's got the stupid closed cooling on it.
But it doesn't sound so stupid.
Well, yeah, they're good motor. I mean, the 470, and then I think was it the 488 or something has the 4-barrel on it, and it's 170 with the 2-barrel, and I think 190 with the 4-barrel on them. And those little motors, they're torque monsters. They're good motors. But and maybe it was just me, but boy, I've seen more of those motors end up getting fixed than I have the Iron Dukes. And part of me wishes, even though it'd only be 140 or 150 or 120 horse, kind of wish that boat had the Iron Duke in it. It'd be running by now, I swear. But the 470 it is. The 470, that it's just stuck. I mean, it is.
It's like somebody put a pin in the engine block. They just pinned every single cylinder.
Yeah.
I need to.
You ought to have Abby out here just reading them for you.
No, I can read them. Right half or left? Right half of them, yeah. Half of a Ford V8. Yep. Yeah, the 460 pistons and yeah, that half. I know. The 120s and the 140s, they just run and run and run.
And they don't ever stop.
Oh, it's funny. So, I mean, anybody who knows us knows my folks are still alive, even though I'm 50. Going to be 51 this month. But it was funny because I know how those little 120s and 140s run forever. But as they get old, they kind of run a little bit down on power, especially when they get 2,000-3,000 hours on them. A lot of them don't even have hour meters, but when they get up there, they'll run down on power. I was talking to my dad, and we had, and for anybody that's my age or even a little bit older, 50-ish, anybody that was born and can remember a time before cell phones, you'll appreciate this. I grew up skiing behind a 1968 14-foot Lone Star fiberglass, like a skiff. You know, it had the little bench seat in the front and a little windshield, and then it had the long seat going back to where the outboard was, you know. And back when I was growing up, you know, there was a lot of, when I was Emmett's age, when I was 10 years old, whatever, everybody remembers the big V4 Evernudes and Johnsons, and 6-gallon gas can, make one trip around the lake and then plug in the other gas can. I grew up skiing behind a Homelite 4-stroke outboard. We had the only one, the only Homelite on the lake, and nobody else that I'm racking my brain right now, but like Evernudes, Johnsons, Scott Atwater, everything was two-stroke. Everything was two-stroke.
Yeah, of course.
And in the 60s, Homelite Corporation took a little British car engine, put it on, yes, the Bearcat. Yes. You win the award. Yes, the Bearcat. And they took this little British car engine, put 2 side draft carbs on it, and put it on end, and it was an outboard.
Wow.
And I grew up skiing behind that, and we were talking about the other night, me and my dad, who's 80 some years, 83 or 4 now,
84.
yeah. We're talking about this the other night. And he's like, when did that finally die? Like, he doesn't even really remember what year, because by then he had that little 20-foot cigarette, which
Right.
to us was a big boat at the time. But he couldn't remember when that died. And I just looked at him, I said, I remember the last year that we water skied behind that. I was like Owen's age, like 14, 15 years old. And Ma would let us use the boat as long as we stayed right in front within a quarter or half mile each way of the right of way where we had it docked.
Right.
You know, she didn't want us taking it all off the, heading down the lake with it. Always wanted. There's a company that rebuilds them. My brother found it. You can still get one of those old Homelites all refurbished.
Wow.
So anyways, long story short, I was like, I remember the last year we skied behind that boat because we were teenagers, and so we were all, 120, 130, 140 pounds. We were like Owen, kind of getting stocky. And when we'd slalom ski behind it, we only pulled one skier behind the old boat. And the last year we used it, the valves were so bad in it. It run good at idle, but just didn't make a lot of power on the top end. Mm-hmm. And we'd have to ski with the cowling off of it so it could get enough cold air blowing into the carburetors to pull a skier. Because if you put the cowling on top of it,
Overheat.
it wouldn't overheat, but that warm air being pulled around the cowling, it just didn't have enough power to pull a slalom skier down the lake. So the whole last summer that we skied behind it, the cowling sat on shore.
Oh my god.
So it'd pull a skier.
Yeah. Too funny.
Best outboard they ever built. Well, till now, but back then, that was my grandmother bought that brand new in '68, and she had a glass bar G3. She bought a glass bar G3, then my dad bought and they both had glass bar G3s. And then she traded hers in, and I think he ended up selling his to my uncle eventually. But from the G3 with the 40 or 60 horse Merc or whatever that had, she went to the Homelite. And the neat thing about the Homelite, and this is growing up something that I understood and probably a lot of people didn't understand back then, was we had a 4-stroke outboard. So when they, back 20, 30 years ago, when the 4-strokes became popular back in the 90s,
Yeah.
I knew that it was the end of the 2-strokes because I grew up behind a 4-stroke. And when all those old V4 2-strokes and stuff ran around the lake, all those Evernudes and Johnsons, the 150s and the whatever, I can't really, I kind of remember what they all were, but they had that V4 platform had a bunch of different horsepower ratings. They were horrible on fuel. And we would, that old Homelite, I think, had a 10-gallon or 12-gallon fuel tank.
Wow.
We would fill that up.
Just start making laps.
Ski all day Saturday.
Yeah.
And then take it back out and ski all day Sunday. Like literally run like 12 hours of skiing.
Yeah.
Off of that 10-gallon fuel. Like it was the most economical thing you ever seen compared to like literally, because I've skied behind
gas can.
I've skied behind the old outboards, and anybody that grew up and skied behind one of those old 2-stroke 100, 125 horse V4s, 150 horse. You pulled a skier, you did a couple laps, he dropped off, you pulled another one. By the time you did the third skier, about halfway through the ski, the rope would go slack, the boat would come off plane, and you're, hey, hold on, I'm switching tanks. And there'd be another 6-gallon tank. The 6-gallon tank, you might get an
Yeah.
hour of skiing out of it, you know.
Wow.
And I grew up behind that old 4-stroke, so we knew. I knew when I seen, you know, I wasn't real old, you know, but in my 30s when them 4-strokes come out, that was the end of that was going to be the end of the 2-stroke. Yeah, I mean, because I grew up skiing behind one.
Right.
Could burn a tank skiing in a little over 30 minutes. Yeah.
Is there a brother you don't know about somewhere?
No, but you didn't grow up on a lake.
No.
See, he grew up he must have grown up on water or
No.
very close to water.
Yeah.
He understands.
Yeah. I did not grow up on water, but maybe that's why I like boats so much, because I never really had boats.
Did you ever have you ever heard my dad tell the stories about the old like they learned to ski behind a 10-horse outboard
Oh my gosh.
back in the 50s.
Yeah.
And but they didn't even have water ski. Like one of the first things they used to do out on the lake, and I'll never forget this, you'll laugh. They had an old house door that they were pulling around behind the outboard because they didn't even have a set of skis. So they had an old wood door off a house out there. They had a rope tied to that, and then another rope
Back
tied
in the good old days.
And they were using it like one of those surfboards,
Yeah.
like that one I
Yeah.
have an antique surfboard in the basement from the 50s with the rope on it.
When there was no regulation and no, well, not a lot. I'm sure there was some in the 50s, but not a ton.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yep, just right.
An old door.
An old door. An old door behind the outboard with a chunk of rope, riding it around until they got their first set of water skis.
Wow.
I don't know if you're ready for me to read this one. We may be related. My dad and his cousins did the door thing too.
Oh my God.
Okay. For next week's dinner in a boat, I am going to have to bring up Archie the sea serpent.
We haven't used it yet. I'm still waiting. I don't know that I want to, but you know, it'll be an experience, that's for sure.
I'm restoring it. That's why we haven't had it in the water. I want to get enamel on the board so the board doesn't rot and get everything sealed up. And then I got to re-sew all the straps that go down the board for Archie that hold, because it's not an inner tube like a truck inner tube. It's actually it looks like a hot dog. It comes up at both ends, and it's a big tube, and it's got a pressure relief valve.
Send them out.
It was built specifically for the board, and then it was painted with a smiley face and some polka dots and stuff, and it's right out of the 60s. Archie the Sea Serpent. And I have Archie the Sea Serpent in the surfboard down in the basement. And when I say surfboard, I mean, you know, it's just a big 6-foot board with just a round kind of the tip of it kind of looks about like this frying pan, you know, and then it's 6 foot long with 2 patches to stand on. And then it's got the big sailfish on it and everything. I got that down in the basement. That one's waiting for me to sand it down, but I wanted to,
Not too late now.
before I sand it off,
Everything.
like the old, not decal, but what's the word I'm looking for? The sailfish with the name and everything on it. Before I sanded that off, I wanted to make sure I had, the logo. I wanted to make sure I had a good copy and everything of it.
No,
but
'cause all
it's
the-
right from the 50s. And everybody wants to try it. But I have fond memories and not so fond memories of the surfboard because there was a few different things. Right. Yeah, I want to like scan it and make sure. I want to make sure that I have it, and like she, on her boat, when she wanted to keep all the factory decals for the Clipper where it said Clipper and everything.
It was painted, hand painted on.
Right, it's hand painted.
So it was, that's the
And so we wanted,
the flavor.
besides just a picture, we wanted an actual, the dimension, the size, everything. And you did, what was it? You took the paper and
I made an etching.
an etching.
I made an etching of the name because it was all the urethane or whatever that had been on there was worn off. So you could, the paint was slightly raised where they had done the name.
Mm-hmm.
So I just made an etching of it on wax paper.
And we need to do that with the surfboard before we sand it and refinish it. And if it wasn't for the fact I'm planning on using it, I wouldn't refinish it because it is all original. But we actually,
We'll use it.
we want to use it. I'm not one of those people. Vintage O'Brien, Excalibur, something. Jeez.
Or wet tacos. Or wet burritos.
They're both pretty good.
He redid his vintage Excalibur O'Brien slalom ski. Lost my tracing and have looked for it for years.
Oh no.
Oh no. Right.
That's sad too,
But
because once you
nothing.
make older stuff like that and you have a copy and then you lose it, you just feel so bummed because to find another one,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough. That's my boat out back. Somebody, before we managed to save it, somebody robbed one of the portholes out of it, one of the side windows. And I don't know that I'll ever find a replacement for that. And it just makes you so sad that it's not complete.
It's out there somewhere.
Somewhere.
Because those portholes weren't built just for Inland Sea's Clipper.
No, right. No, it was a company.
Right. It's off the shelf. So somewhere it's there.
Yeah.
Well, anyways. I'm messing myself up with the food.
Mm-hmm.
And they all want to try the surfboard. And I've explained to them,
I want to try Archie.
That's
and
what
you
we're
want to
talking
try
about.
Archie,
Yeah.
but the only thing I really, really, really remember clear as day, I mean, last time I was on that surfboard, I was probably 15 years old, but I remember this clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
That when somebody comes off that surfboard and the surfboard's just back behind the boat going 25 mile an hour and they're in the water,
Mm-hmm.
that surfboard does tunk, 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 flips over, and then because the lines are attached to the bottom side, which is now on the top side about a foot back from the bow of the board, it instantly goes at a 40-degree down angle at 25, 35 mile an hour, whatever you're pulling it, whatever
Oh my
speed the boat's
gosh.
going, and runs straight into the bottom of the lake. And the boat, if it's got a good solid line, stops.
Are you stealing my drink here?
Not the people in the
Steal my
boat.
drink.
They don't stop. They continue on at whatever the speed was the boat was going till they catch the dash, the
Once again,
windshield.
when pain was considered fun back in the good old days. Here, yeah, scoot down. Scoot down and I'll
Yeah.
slide down just a little bit.
I didn't walk uphill both ways in snow, but I'm sure I bit the dash of a Lone Star more than
Oh.
once at 30 mile an hour.
Oh my goodness. That's hard.
Right, and got stuck in the bottom. Right, it doesn't just like go down. Thunk, and, oh no. I mean, I remember that surfboard coming out with a foot, 2 foot of mud, like just buried in the bottom. And then you go back and because it'll stick like an anchor. You're back there pulling it, trying to get it out of the mud.
Oh my word. Wow. Took my we should be reading this so other people that are watching
Yeah.
can follow along on.
Yep.
Took my grandfather's neighbor's Glastron GT 150 full power to pull it back out. Wow.
Stuck right in the bottom.
So how much of your skiing time would you guys waste doing that?
Oh, not much. I mean, not a lot.
Yeah.
What the nice thing about a surfboard, and my folks went and found another one here like a year ago, and so we actually have two of them now.
Small one where the rope was short.
No, the one that they got, the lip turns up.
What was the one that I rode on that the rope was literally short for like a 6-year-old, and I'm sitting here like this.
That was
the very
it.
first
That was
time
it.
I ever tried to. I haven't skied before, but I had to get up on that, and the very first time, and I'm sitting here like this on this little board. That's the one you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, that was. It needed a longer rope. That was painful.
Yep. Yep.
We definitely need to run into each other. Do you remember the blue plastic zip sled from the 70s?
I'm not sure. I think he's talking about the molded blue toboggan that is like a little toboggan with a little footwell in the front that you'd sit on
For
with hand.
water?
No. For like sliding down a hill.
Oh,
What's that? The zip sled?
that we're talking about right now?
I'm not
We'll have to
100%
look it
sure.
up later and show it to you.
Right.
He still has one.
Nice.
It's like a snow one, but actually it's still water on it.
Oh.
Nice.
Cool.
Oddly enough, it has been my experience
This is spicy.
that just about anything that works on snow can somehow be adapted to water.
Maybe not that it should. Sometimes. But there's somebody out there willing to try it once at least.
At least once. Oh.
We had 3 on it at one time on Indian Lake by Ashton, Michigan growing up.
Nice. That's a nice area.
What's up?
Nope. It's going to be interesting over their lifetimes, the stuff that's hidden and buried away in garages right now.
Grandma's attic.
Yeah, Grandpa's attic. But the stuff that will resurface over the next 20 or 30 years.
Yeah.
So everybody's rode a water toboggan. Did Grandma finally get do they have a water toboggan now? They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they had it before COVID.
Right. With it sits 3 people and it's got the little handle in the front too for one. Yeah.
How was that, Abby?
These modern kids, they don't understand. We had a water toboggan growing up.
I tried swimming on it and then I face planted on it.
But our water toboggan was missing one handle. And because my father, God bless his soul, is a genius, he went to the junkyard and got a handle for it. And in his mind, this was a good idea.
I have a feeling that this is one of those good ideas where had he had the thought, he should have just let it go.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
We all would have been thankful for it. Because the water toboggan, it only had one handle. You could ride on it. You could hang on to just the
Hang on
one
to it.
handle, or you could make do.
Mm-hmm.
But he went to the junkyard and he seen a roof rack on a station wagon, and so he took one side of the roof rack and bolted it to the water toboggan where the handle was missing. So it had this beautiful chrome, shiny, about 3 inches tall
Yeah.
The only way to describe this, though, would be, where's something to put with here? The roof rack would have looked something kind of like this. A big straight line, but then where it came down to mount, here, like that, it came down at an angle in the front. So this looks good. Like if the front of the toboggan's this way, and this was mounted, and then it came down like here, you know, it was mounted. This looks good. You grab a hold of it, you grab a hold of it.
Sounds
The
like
problem-
the hospital.
The problem is, on the back end, it was like this. Now that being the back. And it kind of came up to about like that kind of an angle. So if you slip down the water toboggan, we're sliding off, and we're hanging onto the handle. When you got to the end, ouch. It would pinch you. It literally would, like if you didn't get your fingers out, it could drag you down the lake by your pinky.
I'm surprised nobody lost a finger.
Nobody ever liked to ride our water toboggan.
Just not possible.
Oh,
Did anybody lose a finger on it?
no, but because we always had 2 or 3. Why? It sounds like a trip to the hospital. Yeah, right. Didn't rust because it was chrome. I don't know where the water toboggan. That thing may be up in the rafters of the garage still.
Yeah, living on the edge, man.
I wonder if that is up there still.
I don't know.
Because I don't remember ever getting rid of it. I just remember nobody ever used it.
For a reason.
Right. Nobody ever wanted to ride on. We rode on it all the time when it only had one handle. When he fixed it, nobody wanted to ride on it.
Ruined it.
It only had to get you once.
Yeah.
Oh, and it got everybody at least once.
That's funny. Picture would be cool, but maybe not ride it again.
Right. That's okay. Old fat man here still water skis. And I know
No, you slalom ski.
I slalom ski. That's right. And I still come out of the water on one. And since this sucker's sitting right here, I got to show him my water ski.
All right.
The Big Easy.
Big
And before you see this, I'm in the garage, but I'm coming back. Before you see this on the camera, this is not a surfboard with bindings. This is a Conley water ski.
Big Easy.
But when you turn 50, you're allowed to have one of these. And then you can ski back at 28 mile an hour again. You can pop out on one ski again. It's exactly what it says.
Big.
It's easy and it's big.
I did a couple years ago. My nose was a G2 up in O'Brien.
I like O'Brien skis.
Very
O'Brien
cool.
skis are really nice.
Very cool. I almost bought one of those.
The only thing is, you kind of got to go slow on it because it really is kind of like riding a surfboard. I mean, that I'm 250 and it likes, like when I'm on it, it likes like 25 mile an hour. You know, what I do miss, and you'll appreciate this, is I grew up skiing on a Connolly short line. And that's one hell of a change from when you grew up skiing on a Conley short line.
The Big Woody came out late 90s. When did you get it?
A couple years, what, 10 years ago maybe?
No, I got that about 5 years ago,
Only
but
Mm,
I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Because I bought that one off eBay. And I got it off eBay for like, it was about 150. I think it was 150. But it wasn't all scratched. It's not all scratched up or beat up. A couple little scratches, but it was used, just not used. Well,
am I the only one? This is hot. Am I the only one that thinks this is
No, I
hot?
think it's a little spicy.
You didn't have all the toppings on it, so you don't get a vote.
that jalapeno's warm.
This is spicy.
I think they were close to 3
I mean, I-
something when noon.
That sounds right. That sounds right on the money. Because they had that other one, that Big Daddy, and that was, but it's not as big as the Big Easy. It's actually a smaller ski,
Big Daddy.
and I could ski on that one too. But I wanted to try that one because that one, well, because I was up to 280 pounds is why I have that one. Now that I'm down to 250, I'd be fine on the Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
No. Looks really good.
It's really warm. I'm like sleeping outside if it cools off tonight. I feel like I'm sweating bullets right now.
That's good.
It was good.
You didn't forget there's still French fries in the
She
oven.
just put those in. That was the third batch. I pulled the second batch out. Yeah, you'd think it looked like we had a ton of potatoes, but 3 teenagers, they go right through them.
Yeah.
I was not a teenager if he's still 11 or 12. Isn't he still 11?
13.
No, I'm 13.
Old enough, you eat a lot.
Did you? He didn't make it to hot boat though, did he?
No, he said he
No.
wanted to. He's been thinking about going.
Next year, I know some people do watch us later. We are thinking, not that we won't do any other events or anything. I mean, we might do something kind of for the channel. We want to get to where we do something for the channel. We just haven't figured out like where the picnic spot or how it would work out or that. Next year for sure. Good. We will be there. But what we're thinking is next year for hot boat, besides just going over for the afternoon, we're probably going to take, if that little beachcomber runs, take that over and spend Friday night and all day Saturday and then leave on Sunday there. And anybody that wants to come and hang out and meet us and go for a ride in a jet boat, whatever, you know, just that would be that'd be like just a good thing because it's already going on. And just besides, if we're boring,
That's good.
hot boat is not. So
Mom, this is one of your really, really, really good meals.
Thank you, Owen.
it is good. Who doesn't like chili cheese fries? Well, it's not chili, but
Venison cheese fries.
We'll probably take my
It's not
25
something I would make all the time, but every once in a while.
Probably would take my 25 carver or Glaston Charleston CV 27.
what did you call it?
Glaston Charleston. Glastron Carlson.
Yeah, no, it is Glastron Carlston, Abby.
CV 27. I'm gonna go for the weekend and have a couple of my smaller.
Glastron.
Right. Well, and over there, just down the river a little bit, there's a couple really nice little coves that you could kind of duck into for the evening, where the river traffic going up and down or what it wouldn't
Yeah.
bother you. It'd be a great place to tuck in for the night and fish and fish.
Fish.
You know,
Boats and fishing go together like s'mores and graham crackers and marshmallows and yeah.
somehow I don't think anybody that's sitting there with a
No.
871 on top of a big block with a V drive is going, yeah, I want to go fishing.
It'd be him.
Yeah.
He'd be that guy.
He'd be that guy. Well,
I just mean it like early morning.
We like the hanging out camping more. We like the hanging out camping more than the mayhem.
right.
Yeah, we don't go down to the main. We drive by, like make a drive by, but we don't duck in and go in where all the boats are and stuff. But we have gone for a ride down the river to where they are and then come back. But it's just too. When you got the kids, you like just hanging out and watching the boats go back and forth and zoom up and down the river.
And being a graduate of Dumb and Stupid, when I was younger, you know,
That's how it is for us, unfortunately.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now at the sandbar, I haven't been up for that, and we
Is
need
that where Justin was just where he was talking about the
Right.
pontoon and the ice cream?
yeah, the ice cream guy, yeah. That's Torch Lake. That was Torch Lake. Yeah, that's Torch Lake.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
We need to get up to Torch Lake, and I mean, it's just a question of when to come and next.
How long to stay?
Right, afternoon or overnight, or you know, and then that dictates which boat goes.
Right.
But next year, definitely more running around. Well, I tell you, I can't believe I missed it this year. Was Boyne Thunder? Like it always seems like the weekends that something's going on.
Well, and the one where they had all the cigarette boats and the up in gosh, where was that last year when we went and walked where all the boats were?
You mean down the races in St. Clair?
Oh, it was St. Clair. Yep,
It was.
it was. That's right.
It's
For some
amazing
reason, I was
to
thinking
watch
that.
the ride up the river between Skidmore.
This is another hard one. You need help, Abby.
Yeah,
Skegamog.
and
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I've never been on Torch Lake, but I know that's quite the. I mean, it's just like kind of going over there, except I think you got some fast boats. We got a lot of family boats up there.
Yeah.
haven't done Boyne Thunder, but would like to see it once.
We did the poker run out of Muskegon, was it 3 years ago, and that was a good time. That was a good time. That was with was it West Michigan
That was a good
Offshore?
time in the rain.
Yo, we were one of three
It
boats.
was raining so hard, it literally was like a wall of rain, and we went through it anyway.
That's it.
She's
What
like,
a-
are we gonna go? I'm like, we're going.
We're going. We're going. She said we're going.
And
We
then we
went.
disappeared.
No, we didn't disappear.
You know what? Yeah.
They all 30 or 40 or 50 other boats disappeared. All turned around.
Yeah.
It's rain. I don't know. I mean, I grew up on the water. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a poker run. Go get your cards. We were one of three boats that made it into Whitehall.
The other two were covered, weren't they? The
Oh.
Outer Limits was covered.
Oh yeah, the Outer Limits was covered, but
What was the other one?
he pulled out a Muskegon Hull. And 4 minutes later, he was in
Yeah.
Whitehall. I think he did 120 up there.
Yeah, but who was the other?
The
boat?
Donzi, remember that
Oh,
little,
yeah.
the other, we had the 22-foot Chris
right.
Craft down there, the
That's right.
Stinger, and this like 23-foot Donzi. We were the two smallest boats in the poker run.
Probably the two cheapest boats in the
eh.
Outer Limits.
Well, that Donzi wasn't a cheap boat. I mean, but yeah, we were definitely the low budget operation in that damn show.
Right for what was there. That's.
But the Donzi didn't turn around. We didn't turn around, and then the Outer Limits didn't. Yeah, I mean, he opened the throttle, and that was. I mean,
Yeah.
we seen him as we were going into White Lake. We seen him coming out. He had already been
Right.
in, got his card.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got back down there, and we're like, when we turned in our chips or whatever to get our cards back in Muskegon.
Because that was my first poker run. I think I said at one point to him, I'm like, Well, how do you play if you don't have a full deck?
Which I don't think everybody else should have got because they
Right.
comped everybody else their card. And
Yeah.
Nobody won. We should have had like an extra card.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, that's an hour. We're finished out on the poker run, and thanks for hanging with us. And
yeah, thanks for hanging out and
right,
chilling for the night.
maybe if someday if we get this channel a good enough, well, I know everybody that seems to hang out on the channel. I haven't. We don't even have trolls. I kind of wish we had trolls at this point, but no,
Something's better than nothing.
something's better than nothing, right? But yeah, I'm reading them as they go.
Yeah.
But I would like to have a poker run someday if we get the channel big enough.
Yeah.
If we
It'd
get
be cool to launch a poker run from here and run to like Pentwater and then Silver Lake and then back up to what's the next one
Right.
north closest? Is that Frankfurt's the closest?
Manistee,
Manistee. Yeah, I knew I was getting one.
Manistee,
Like Frankfurt's a little
Portage,
bit.
and then
Yeah.
or Onekama, and then
No.
Arcadia,
Yeah.
then Frankfurt. Oh. No.
All right.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us, and I don't know, there'll be some kind of video or something. We're thinking. I got 60 some clips from Hot Boat, and I think I'm gonna. Yeah, they're done. I'm gonna drop them all as shorts this week. So if you're waiting for content on the channel. There's 60 shorts coming, and we're just going to dump those all on there, and then there'll be hopefully, God willing, and Owen pulling, that damn 470 will roll over at some point, and we'll get to make a video on that. And then I'm going to try and get her Norberg bullets to roll over in her Inland Seas Clipper.
Are we back on that again?
We're on that a little bit. Are we back on that? Are we back? Anybody need a boat? So,
Hey, you guys, you take care. And yeah, Frankfurt's a nice town. So we're going to call it a
what is
night.
it? Jamerson's Marina. Remember the really
Yes,
nice, that's a nice
really
marina.
Jamerson's Marina.
Is it? But I did hear it changed ownership. So,
Did it?
yeah. So good night with that. Abby's going to kick us out of here or whatever and
See
do
you
some
next
dishes. Bye-bye.
See you later.
He said something it shows.